everyone, welcome back. It's Nat Walsh. Today we are actually going to make two cards. I have this Altenew Buffalo Plaid stencil and it's going to be my first time playing with it, but we'll see. It's very easy to use. It's just going to be like two colors. You could probably add more if you had another stencil that just had the lines and everything else, that you could add some more detail. So we've got Stormy Sky and Peacock Feathers, which in real life looks a little bit more green of the peacock feathers, but for some reason, I mean, we all know what peacock feathers, well, maybe you don't. Those who use Distress Oxide inks often will know that it's quite a nice, pretty blue-green. Okay. I've got some blending brushes here and we're just going to apply our ink. I will rub it off. Now, when we go to the next color, I'm going to slow this down. So I've got my hand is in the left-hand corner, okay, from wherever it was, rotated around, and my hand is still in the left-hand corner. So we've turned it over, but we've still got all the lines going in the same direction. I mean, I don't know if that's a standard thing because buffalo print is not a great big thing here in Australia, but that's what I've done. So I've had my hand in the bottom left-hand corner and I've just flipped it over and it's still in the bottom left-hand corner, my hand. Okay. But you can do whatever you want. I don't really see why there might be a problem, but anyway, I've also made sure that when I've gone to apply the second color, it's in between the first color. So it's not over the top. Because I had to play with it once before and totally failed. And for some reason, all my ink, well, I mean, I know what the reason was. I failed to place the stencil in the correct position. But as I said, you do you. If that's what you want to do, is that what you overall want for your card, then go ahead. It was a little bit too stark. So this, I mean, white is pretty much my go-to, and I really should play with some other colors. Be really cool on some craft, I think. I'm just double checking because my panel was wonky for some reason. I totally stuffed up with the cutting. So I'm going to trim it down to 14.1 by 9.7. We're just going to go over that a little bit with our Stormy Sky, and I actually am going to put a little bit of the peacock feathers in as well. Of course, I got my hand in some ink, so I have a little gooby there, but we're actually going to do something later on and you're not going to see that because I couldn't get rid of it all because it was just a bit too dark. A peacock feathers now. I really should put some non-slip sort of thing underneath that mat. Paper Rose Just a Note. There's a couple of Just a Notes. This one, I like it because you have the back, the outline in it. So that's my plan, to have that in the bottom corner. I decided that I was going to make my own coloured cardstock. So we're going to use peacock feathers and pretty heavily, pretty generously blend all that over the top and make our little cardstock the peacock feathers colours. So it's pretty simple. Make your own cardstock. If you don't have a colour that's going to blend in really well, then make your own. I am going to put a bit of double-sided tape on this. I went to take it off and then went, no, put some double-sided tape. And you'll see why. This will make it really easy. Burnish that down nice. And yeah, I always forget to turn my phone down, don't I? I have die cut 4 of the shadows out of black cardstock, purely because I had a load of scraps that if you've been watching my channel recently, you'll see that I'm just like trying to use my scraps. And I have a lot of black and I have a lot of white, mostly because when I've made albums and that sort of thing, especially the black, but I did make a white album. I don't think I want to do that again. That was like paranoia every time I went to use it, making sure there was nothing on my hands. But it was good fun. It was good fun. But we have quite a few leftover scraps. Now I'm going to peel this out. Now my dots at the end and that eye just there are going to be a pain in the caboose. But to peel off the backing, and then you're just going to stick those down. I'm going to get rid of all the little loopy bits that we don't need. Put our die over the top, position it, and all you need to do, now I will have to go back to my dots in a minute because you'll see that they still have the sticky on them, so they are not going to stick down, but it makes it easy to position. You don't have to fiddle with the A being separate. You don't have to fiddle with all the other letters. I mean, the rest of the letters are all joined up, but it makes it so much easier. So if you can, put it's not a stencil, it's a die. Put the die down over your shadow and punch it out that way. And that's going to be, so it's going to be really strong. And you can see there, I'm using up scraps. I did tell you. And some of my friends will recognize this from a recent class that I taught at Little Bits. So I didn't use it because I already had one, but I wanted to show everyone where to stamp their flowers. So we're going to use it here. Got our foam tape. Take off one side, position it with the rest, and then remove the additional pieces of backings. That's going to be cool. Just trying to show you there how nice and thick and strong it is. So it just gives a bit more dimension to it. Looking at it now, and you'll see why in a little bit, it actually looks like a puffy sticker, which is quite cool. So that was 4. These are just some iridescent pearls that I had in my stash, and I'm just going to place it. And they had the blue and the green flick through it, so it matched perfectly. But you could use whatever. You could just use black. You can just use a matching green or clear or whatever. Our glossy accents. Now, this is a big bottle and it actually has a hole in the side of it, so it keeps jamming up. So we're going to use our little one. And all I'm doing here is just going over the actual word, just a note, and giving it a glossy look, which I think adds to more of the puffy sticker without being an actual sticker, which is fine, but I decided to make it stand out a little bit more. So it's a nice, easy way. You can very much, I've done it before with die cuts, clear emboss it and just pounce the die cut into a clear embossing, like your Versamark. But for people who don't think of these things until the end, I reserve my right to be quiet on that one. It's a great way to add that dimension. Card number 2, we're going to leave that to dry. This time I decided to just use one strip. Now, this is probably been done plenty of times. I have no idea who, but we're actually going to use the Kitsch Flamingo, the new Kitsch Flamingo colour. You're not going to see an awful lot of it, but I thought it's new. Let's have a crack. Let's see. And it's a nice pink. I like it. We've got our spiced marmalade for our orange. We're just going to clean off so I don't contaminate too much. Put a bit more pink into it. Clean that off so I don't contaminate too much. Squeeze lemonade. I'd probably add a bit more of this if I thought about it later on. Well, not later on because it's too late, but earlier on I would have thought about it. I would have put a little bit more of that in, but we've got our Lockie Clover now. do go through quite regularly and clean off my stencil because I just don't want it. I wanted a nice and clean rainbow. We've got some Salty Ocean, and I'm going to finish off with Dusty Concord. I nearly said it again. Concord. We all know, if you've been to my channel for any length of the time, that sometimes words don't like me. I do a lot of sign language, and maybe that's why I do sign language, because words are just hopeless. So this one's a pretty simple cut. Now, there's quite a few companies that do this now, but I have some Uniquely Creative, and it's essential card making. So I've got a couple of these sheets just showing you which one it is. The die has the little, and the printouts have that little hole that you can match up and cut it all out. So it makes it quick and easy. People go, yeah, it's just, you can cut it out. You can just cut it out by hand sort of thing. But honestly, one stamp, or for those that have there's Tailored Expressions that have a stamp. Now, Uniquely Creative actually have a stamp. They have, well, I know of 2. I don't know if there's any more, but I know of 2 stamps, and then you can just stamp it out. So this is black, printed black onto white. So we're just going to run it around the edges with our Black Soot water-based marker, distress marker. And once again, we're going to use up some scraps. I do need to trim off a little bit to a few of these. I'm going to cut this out, I think. We'll come back to it all finished, but you can see what I'm doing. Just trimming it down and layering up, just like I did my sentiment. And trim it off. I know, that's right, I didn't cut it out. I was going to cut it out, but I thought, yeah, let's just leave it. So that's my 2 little cards. So they're relatively quick. I mean, there's not a lot of work in this one, of course. You've already got the pre-made sentiment. A little bit more work in the other one, but even then it's pretty straightforward. So all my information will be linked down below. My blog will be there. Then you can have a look, go over to the blog, have some close-up photos. I generally do a couple of extra photos. Like and subscribe, that would be awesome. If you like this video, it just sort of tells YouTube basically that it's not a bad video, and therefore it's more likely to recommend it to other people, and therefore my channel grows, which is the aim of it. I'm very I have a lot of fun with this, and I hope that sort of comes out in my videos. No one ever does this unless they find it enjoyable. Again, we've got our scrap piece of white cardstock there. I did use, you saw some Copic multi-liner, a 0.3 marker, and I've just done a little bit of a rough doodle around the edges just to frame it off. So I don't know, I'm into this layering up, and I'm into this framing it a little bit. Now the other thing, because I'm trying to use up things in my stash, the other thing I'm going to use on this is these Kaisercraft. I don't know what they're called, but they're like clear enamel drops, and honestly they wanted to stick to my fingers. They've stuck to the card beautifully. They're not coming off, so I don't think the Kaisercraft probably also has it still, but there's plenty of water droplets, Lucy's Little Things, even Uniquely Creative have some little clear drops. I've used those before plenty of times, but I opened up my drawer because I've changed everything around, and these were staring at me, so we thought we'd use some of these up, and that's our card. So use whatever you've got, basically, is my message to you. I hope you enjoyed. Take care. See you next time. Bye.